Good morning, everyone. My name is Joe. My call is Victor Echo 1 Bravo Whiskey Victor. What we're looking at is a Ubitx. These are NEXTION enhanced type screens, and they're intelligent, so they're very fast. This is a regular 3-inch one, and I've added a little 7-inch one here. And the wiring that is involved for putting this onto this unit is really just 3 wires. 2 wires, sorry, actually, that come out of that unit, and then there's a little wire that cable I have here going into the radio itself. That's how simple it is. And then there's a little, because I'm testing it right now, there's a little 5-volt cable right here that plugs in. Of course, you could get the 5 volts from inside. I just haven't decided how I was going to mount it. But there it is. That's how simple it is. The interesting part is these are both synchronized, even though they look a little different because the actual layout here is programmed inside the NEXTION, and this is also programmed. And so they're separate, but they're feeding in the data. So as I spin around here, you'll see it's pretty well instantaneous between the two of them. They're very fast. It's only serial data, so that makes a big difference. They're both touch screens. I'll choose, now I have this on a little stand here, so it's a little bit wobbly, but you can see I went and choose between the lower sideband. So if I pick that again, a little menu is popping up here. A little hard to see probably, but I'll put it back to upper sideband. There you go. If I want to go to change the bands, you'll see this is moved 1802, and down here it's 1802. So I'll move it up. You'll see that. So they're all synced exactly with each other. Again, these are movable controls here. You can change how you like the sound. To get rid of the noise, attenuate things. You can, and what else is there? I think you can use this one out. What else? Hard to see the keys, normal stuff. Your steps, you can choose. And if I go down here and I do the same sort of thing, I can do the steps over here, and they pop up. You see, there's 100. I'll put that at 100. So the 100 step is now. So anyway, that's on 17 meters. Let's put my glasses on here to make sure that I can see things a little closer up. Okay. So what we're looking at, same thing down here. If I change this, you can see it changing to 20 meters. This is a bit scratchy pad. This one here is the volume. That's the RF gain. These are just regular buttons. You can change it to different modes, whatever the case is. You can see change the band. And you go through the bands. And unfortunately, since it's the middle of the afternoon, there's not much traffic audio on the 40 meter band, so I'll bring it up to yeah, it's 14213. See if I can find something else.
Thank you very much for the call. You're 5 and 9 months. Running signal in here tomorrow this evening, and the operator name is Darren. That is Delta O.
Slow scan. Not a huge amount of activity. And I'll go back down here a little bit. I'll just turn this down here. Yeah, I hear a bit of that noise when it does that. Now somebody was there. They're really nice, clear, crisp, lots of color. You probably don't quite see the color. Let me move it. Okay. I'll turn that RF gain down as well. so I don't compete with it, but as soon as I start talking, it probably will. So I'll move the camera up here just so you can see how clear and how colorful those are. And this is the little one down here. Yeah, I'm getting reflection from the light there, so let's just see if I can bring it into focus. A little difficult here with me moving it. And they're such bright displays that the camera wants to shut down here. But at least with the 7-inch, where it's kind of hidden from the other lighting, you get a good idea. I'll put it back down here. And these are just some of the buttons to do different things. The one that's only unique is the one referred to as SDR. So I'll put this back here so you don't get dizzy. For the SDR, there's two things. There's a Ubitx radio inside here. And then there's also in this far corner, I'll show that later when I take the cover. Oops. Put him down there so I don't compete with him. There's a complete SDR HF receiver, an independent one in this far corner. And so on the back of the unit, I'll show that a little bit later, there's two BNCs. One is for the regular antenna, and the other one is for another antenna, which you could feed into it, and that will go to the SDR. So you can have two feeds off. You can have a receive antenna on one, and you basically run up the program, SDR radio, SDR sharp, any one of those, and then you would plug in, turn that down a bit, you would plug in this particular cable. I don't know if you're able to see it in the back, but there's a cable at the back here. There she comes. And that is the SDR one. It's kind of the alligator. It's one of those coil type cables. So if you plug that into a PC and you run up one of those programs like I mentioned, you can run this just as it is, and it has nothing to do with what you want to watch here. But of course, when you run it through that system, you'll have waterfall and the panorama type stuff that SDR stuff has. Okay. Let me just put that back for a second.
Victor Echo 3, Romeo, Germany, Charlie. Victor Echo 3, Romeo, Germany, Charlie. 5-9, thanks.
Turn the RF gain down a bit. And as I mentioned, you can change the buttons on the screen, and every one of these are both touchscreen. Or you can strictly go and hit the button here and go between the bands. That's 15 digital. There we go. Put it back up. See if there's anybody at all up there. Oh. Of course, once they get tuned in, they stop. That is the net. Let's see if he talks.
Whiskey 2 station, try again.
Oh, there you go. So anyway, and that's being fed through a Delta Loop antenna that I have, just wire 240 feet, stuck about, I don't know, 20 feet above the ground, roughly. Okay, so let's turn this, I mentioned it's a scratchy pad here. There we go. I'll turn it off a minute. This still stays displayed because it's being fed by an independent voltage, whatever. So let me give you an opportunity to look inside. I will just put this back here. I'll pull this cover in case off. And again, it's still showing a screen only because of the 5 voltage being fed independently. Okay, so let's have a look inside there. Alexa, turn the lamp on. There we go. Just a little bit more lighting so you see down below here. Now, I'll try to do my best to give you a good shot of it. That's what she looks like inside. I put some RF shielding. I put copper tape all the way through all the areas, all the crevices, everything, to make it RF shielded as much as I could. I added, compared to the regular Ubitx, I added a large heat sink. Then I also have an independent fan, which I used to put on a thermal control unit, but otherwise it's just hanging out there. That's the Ubitx itself. Okay, extra power units and regulators and filters to help clean up the audio and all that sort of stuff. Otherwise, just like a regular Ubitx, just kind of shielded a bit between the different units. That's copper. Again, run around the tape. Now here's what I'm talking about inside. You have this. And so that's a complete independent unit which has its own BNC on the back. And you can run that with a program and watch it on Windows, watch the band, and anywhere you like, independently of this Bitx. So there are two separate systems here. I had a spare one of those kicking around. I thought, well, I use it, so why not put it inside the radio so it just doesn't clutter the normal area. So around the back here, it's a little more difficult. I'll try to just put this out of the way here. Nothing unusual, just to give you an idea what's back there. Kind of all the digital audio breakout. That's that little BNC I'm talking about way down here at the bottom. See that one? Yeah. Now that one is where you shove in your other antenna or whatever you want, and that goes directly into the SDR unit. The one at the top here is your regular antenna, and that's a speaker, external speaker I have. Using 12 volts. Right now it's 3 amps roughly. And then there's a mic connector, I think, at the back, if I remember right. It's been a long time since I've used it, so bear with me on some of the errors. And this is an old Radio Shack scanner. If I was doing it over, I would put in something nicer now that I can do 3D printing and everything else. But it's what I had at the time. And there it is right there. Of course, I got the cover off and everything else. So I'll just put that down here. Don't want to get just too dizzy. Let it focus. And put it back down here. Just slip that cover right back on. Of course, always a little more difficult when you're on a screen. Let's put something on here. And right here. And I gotta get this one on. That's good. Almost there. And there we have it. So I'll put that back up here like that. And put this up here a little bit. A bit of spot for it, whatever the case is. Now, if I turn the unit back on, yeah, there's that dirty pot. RF gain is fine. It's strictly that pot and that first, almost halfway. It's been sitting there for a while, I guess. So there we are back again. I can go and switch the bands. These are the digital areas. Usually with a pen works quite easy. That's 20 meters. Where's that there? Come up, come up. Yeah. Well, if it was nighttime, which I guess I should have done this, it'd be all kinds of stations, but I think you heard enough earlier to be able to tell. And there's only one thing that's a little unique about this one. There's a little one in here area that, let me look here. There we go. Kind of moved on me there a bit. There's a little thing here right there called SDR. And what that does is up in this corner, he's down here as well, but up here in this corner is a thing that says SPK and SDR. So when you flick this here, that says SDR, you notice it goes quiet because that's muted the radio basically. And now you could listen to your audio and everything else through your PC that's hooked up to this internal SDR, which was by this cable. So that's hooked into your USB port. Bring it up here like that. Yeah, that's just hooked into your USB port. You run your software, you set it up, and now the audio will play through it. And so when you want to listen to the Ubitx, basically you hit that again, and that changes and says speaker. And of course now you get the audio. So kind of a built-in feature. Let's see. Yeah. It's the net. So let's pull that down and there you go. Turn that down. Again, these are just the normal controls. So you hear that scratching? It's that one right there. Probably I say from sitting and that sort of stuff, but it's an easy pot to change anyway. It's not a big deal. And if I'll turn this off, just unplug it for the moment. There we go. So I'm looking at features. Basically, you got a full Ubitx transceiver. You've got the NEXTION displays, which by themselves are quite valuable. And you have a 7-inch display, which is a really nice feature. Then you can move it and put it on a cable all around your shack and have the knot close to the radio because it's touch. So the beauty of it, you could have this and have the radio put back a bit and just have this in front of you, and that's all you'd need to control, you know, your normal functions, whatever. So anyway, I'm looking to sell this with one of the other units. So I have another one here. Again, this is a little different. Another unit. Let me just back that off here a bit. There we go. Get it down. Anyway, and it's a heavy unit, but it's a Ubitx all band as well. It's just in a different case, and it has just a regular color screen, and again, all filtered inside. Very solid, heavy build. You can look at the back here. I'll move this to the side a bit. You can see the various USB connections, big heat sinks, all made because I only use them for you know, the digital modes, whatever. So it's a pretty heavy little unit because the case was a power supply and it was a monster transformer in there. So I have one of those for sale. That's a Ubitx all band as well. This is a Ubitx 40, and that has a color display as well. It was actually a digital meter, a voltmeter, so I tore it apart, painted it, and then shoved it in. And so what it looks like is basically like this. I'll move this back a bit so you have a little bit better look. So there we go. And again, it's touchscreen. So you see there's not many dials, just basically volume RF control. I did put a VFO on the side here because I do like to tune with a knob, but you don't have to, of course. It's up to yourself. And then we have, let me see, let me get it down here again. I have to push to talk. And then you have all the stuff at the back. Another heat sink, your BNC for your antennas, your voltage input right over here, and then your normal audio stuff up in this area. You know, so you can get access to your audio for your push to talk and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, that's a 40-meter unit. It's quite small. It's actually a nice, it's an attractive case in the sense of it's an unusual shape, but if I put it down here and I give you a little bit better perspective, there, that's what it looks like. And there's some holes inside because that's what something else was there. So it's again, very solid. You could sit on it and it wouldn't bother it at all. Let me just show you quickly just that to show you the difference in displays. Now, these are regular color displays. The first unit I showed you was a NEXTION type displays, which are much more elaborate and of course they're much more expensive. But anyway, and so I'll just plug this in.